Hi and welcome to another episode of Toby's Barbecue Corner. Today we're making bacon wrapped stuffed pork loin on my Traeger Pro 22. Now what you need for it and how to do it, I'm going to show you in this episode. And this is what you need for today. Now obviously we need a pork loin, you need some cream cheese, you need some bacon, you need a little bit of breadcrumbs. I'm using pine nuts today and I just freshly roasted them in a pan. You need some baking tray paper, you need an internal thermometer of any sort. I'm using my Meter Plus. You need a sharp knife, you need a meat mallet, as well as your favorite dry rub. Now in the first step, what you want to do is you want to look at your pork loin and you see that little tendon right on top here. So we're going to take that off because obviously that is not great for eating when that gets hard during the cooking process. So try to take it off with as little meat as possible on it, but try not to take off any of the fat because obviously this is quite a lean piece of meat, and you want to leave as much fat as you can on there because obviously fat adds to the flavor. There we go. It's a nice tender piece of meat. And then that little bit of silver skin here we might as well take off as well, simply because the rub will stick better to it when it has a bit more chance to actually get into the meat. So that's already it when it comes to the cleaning process. And then what you want to do is you want to slice into your pork tenderloin, kind of like butterfly it, hence the sharp knife. And we're just going to open this up a little bit. Obviously try not to cut too deep and don't create any holes into the meat, because then your cream cheese actually has a chance to really run out. Kind of like that. Give it a nice butterfly right here. The head of that loin is always a bit tricky, so go slow, take it easy, make sure that you don't cut too deep. Rather cut often than once too deep. There we go, that's already looking good. Obviously you just want to create a pocket for the cream cheese as well as the nuts to find some space. And now what you want to do is you want to take a mallet and we're going to hammer it a little bit. Not too much. Just to spread it out that little bit. Well, we're done with the pork loin, so we're going to rest that to the side and we're going to take care of our bacon. Now you can obviously stuff your pork loin and just roll it up and then just drape the bacon over it. I prefer to make a baconette, and the way you do that is it's a bit more work, but I think later on it yields a better product in the end. So what you do is you kind of measure roughly the overall length that your pork loin has, and then you create that net. And the way you do that initially is you rest two sets of bacons to the side and then you fold it over. And then put the bacon in between, leaving as little space in between the individual bacon slices as possible. Fold it back over and move on to the next slice. Now I've done this before in a number of videos, so if you want to see the whole process, by all means go ahead, look for these other videos, but that's in essence how it goes. And then you just have to make sure that obviously you make this as deep or as wide as possible in order for you to actually wrap your pork loin in its entirety. So I'm going to finish this up and I'm going to show you the final product. So the bacon net is done. Doesn't it look lovely? So what we're going to do now is I've left some bacon pieces on the side And what you want to do is you want to have them over here on the side a little bit. Now this is a little bit, not much, but this is a bit the tricky part, because what you want to do is when you rest your pork loin or anything that you wrap in bacon, you want to wrap it on the sides obviously as well, and that is a bit the tricky part, just a little bit. Anyways, so here we go, our pork loin. And now what we're going to do is we're going to season it first, right? Because obviously seasoning is important. So we're going to season it with our dry rub. And you can also season your bacon a little bit with it. Now you don't need any additional salt, pepper, garlic, whatever you usually use, simply because, you know, obviously the majority of the dry rubs already have that in some form inside of them. And then you're going to take your cream cheese. Now what I usually do is I take it out when I take out all the items that I have, and I let it come up to kind of like room temperature a little bit. What it does is it helps it be a bit more spreadable. And also, you know, it takes a little bit of time to make your bacon net, so the cream cheese really has time to get to the temperature we want. You don't really need much, you know. You need about, I don't know, I guess 2 tablespoons, something in that vicinity. Maybe even a little less. It depends on the size of, you know, your loin that you got. And we're just gonna very liberally spread it all over the place. There we go. That's already looking very pretty. And then what you're going to do is you're going to take some of those breadcrumbs. We're just going to very gently sprinkle them onto our cream cheese. Now what that does is it will absorb some of the moisture during the cooking process, so that the cream cheese shouldn't leak out too much while you're cooking it. It's actually a little trick that I saw online. I'm trying it for the first time this time around. So let's see how that works. But it does make sense, you know, because obviously bread will absorb some of the moisture that's inside your cream cheese. There you go. And then with the pine nuts, now they are obviously, well, they're small, but they're still kind of big. So what I like to do is I like to crush them up a little bit. But they don't have to be fine. I mean, you can also put them in a mixer or blender. But I just want to crack them a little bit so they can release their oils and, you know, that lovely flavor of the pine nut a little bit more into the meat. And just get a little smaller. So as I said, you don't want the powder, you want to have a little bit of bite to them. And then what we're going to do is we're just going to sprinkle them right on top, and they will have different sizes, different textures, and I think that's what makes this dish absolutely lovely. Now you can make this dish, as with all my dishes, obviously in the oven as well. You know, if you don't have a barbecue, or you don't want to do it on the barbecue, or the weather is not nice, or whatever it is. So you can do it however you like. And also you can substitute the nuts. If you have a nut allergy, you can substitute it for spinach, for example, that you can maybe pre-cook a little bit. Right, and now we're going to try, as best as we can obviously, to close up our pork loin again. There we go. Try to keep the filling as best as we can in it. And then we're going to center it right around here and do those initial streaks of bacon first, so that we try to prevent any leakage on that side as well. Try to close it up as best as you can, but you will have some leakage obviously. And now the trick with the baking paper really comes into play. Now you can also use cling film, and sometimes the cling film works better and sometimes it doesn't. So it really depends on what you use and how you use it. But what you want to do is you want to press it nice and tight onto your stuffed pork loin, simply because the tighter this is, the less leakage you will have. It's almost like a sushi roll if you think about it. And now you can see there's quite a bit of overlap, but you really do want to have that overlap to make sure that when the bacon retracts itself due to the heat, that it kind of like shrinks around your pork loin rather than opening up one side and you lose all that, all the stuffing. There we go. Make it look nice and tidy. There we go. That is already very lovely. And then what we're going to do is place it to the side, and just to catch the drippings but to give it a good airflow, we're going to rest it on one of those, you know, kind of like oven trays. Doesn't that look absolutely gorgeous? So very gently we're going to roll this onto go. Nice. Very nice indeed. So just position it a little bit more center. Close the ends again. You know, just make sure that you wrap this as tightly as you can. Now what you can also do is to prevent the bacon from retracting too much, you can stick toothpicks in it. I don't, simply because I don't like it. I don't think it's necessary. If you just wrap it or wrap the bacon around like this, you should put some toothpicks into it, but make sure you remove it before you actually serve it, because it's very unpleasant if you bite down on a toothpick. Anyways, I'll see you outside on the smoker. We already started the Traeger and it's running roughly 107 degrees, and I've actually added a little bit of rub on the top. Put my meter in, we're looking for an internal temperature of 66. I'm going to open the lid, put it in, and we're going to let it cook. The pork loin has been on for an hour and 10 minutes. We're still 1 hour and 13 to go, but we're sitting pretty. The temperature has dropped a little bit, below 100, but the Traeger has been increasing and decreasing, as you can see, so it's really working out well. I'm going to leave it closed simply because I don't want to lose any more temperature. The temperature dial on the Traeger down here actually reads 112, so you can see that it goes up and down almost like a wave. Exactly 2.5 hours later, we're done. It smells absolutely delicious, so we're going to let that rest for roughly 10 minutes and then we're going to give it that center cut. But as you can tell already, the cream cheese has not really seeped through, so this is more like the bacon fat that has rendered. So we did something really well by intertwining, you know, doing that bacon net, and the Traeger outside is already in the shutdown cycle, so again that roughly takes 10 minutes. Anyways, I'll see you in just a second. Right guys, 10 minutes are up, ready for that center cut, so let's go for it. And here we go. And now guys, I think that looks absolutely phenomenal. So let's have a quick cut and look at the cream cheese and the pine nuts seeping out of this. So let's have a go. Oh my god guys, how delicious is this? That really came out great. So we're gonna dig in now. Alright guys, that's it for today. Thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video about our bacon wrapped stuffed pork loin. Now it was super juicy, super delicious. I think the pine nuts together with the cream cheese really make a difference, and obviously the bacon net really prevented anything from seeping out or leaking out. So that was absolutely fantastic. The Traeger delivered, had a nice smoke flavor. We smoked with hickory today. Yeah, so all in all, a fantastic cook. Now if you did enjoy this video, I would appreciate a comment and a thumbs up. Please head over to that subscribe button for more great videos to come, and I hope to see you soon again at Toby's Barbecue Corner.